Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is where we study the strategies, tactics, and methodology behind the game of HeroClix. Today on my special 10th episode, we have spoilers, and I'm also glad to welcome back Mr. Dan Morant, the current HeroClix champion. So please say hi to all the nice people out there.
Hello.
All right, that's as sweet and to the point. All right, as I said, we're going to have spoilers, and so yes, this is coming out before Galactic Guardians. And if you've been anywhere on the net, you will know that the people in France and people in certain states in the United States have gotten full product. Somehow Diamond and Alliance decided to give some people some early distribution love. So everything at this, everything except Tester, the Celestial, is spoiled. So what we're going to talk.
Although Tester's card is out, so you can still kind of talk about.
His card is out, but it's almost like. When you were looking at Master Mode, which we will talk about in great deal, or even Galactus, not all the traits kick in, and so without seeing the dial, I'm hesitant. I'm real hesitant without seeing the dial to say like, yo, this is going to be great or this is going to be weak. So I hold judgment until I see the dial. That's just my personal opinion. But what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at the fun to be had in the set. So if you do not like spoilers, feel free to shut this off now. And also, pick the show back up later when the set comes out and you are either preparing for Seal or you're thinking for, further meta play. But as of right now, we're going to start with spoilers. So there we go. Spoiler warnings, people. You can't say I didn't warn you. All right. Pretty much, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about pieces that we think are worth talking about. And because I know we're probably going to spend most of the time on the Colossals, let's start with the Colossals first and move our way into the main set. Does that work for you, Dan?
Sure, that works for me.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's start off with Galactus.
Okay.
Since Galactus is the first time someone, or pretty much most of the realms and other places has said, he could be 300-point meta. So what do you think about Galactus overall?
Well, I'm trying to bring up his dial on my computer right now so I can look at it and remember before I just start rambling, but sadly he doesn't seem to want to come up. But it's certainly interesting. I think the thing that really makes the difference with him is not only his ridiculous stats, it's the fact that he's a mystic. So it really, if he wasn't, there we go, he just came up. If he wasn't a mystic, Superman would tear him apart. Especially on, I think some people have said they'll just play the Zorro map, who basically has nowhere to walk. But he's a mystic, so and especially the 150-point Superman, one click and you're off your best click. So even if you hit him for, let's assume you let's go whole hog. You hypersonic in. We were on Ultimate Godhood on the Gauntlet. So you would hit, he fails if ever seen him for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, now you're staring at a 12 attack with 5 damage side blast, and that's going to cook your Superman. And you've got an 18 defensive vulnerability because you have to take a click and get it for Mystics. So he just nuked your Superman, and now he's going to sit there, and the rest of your team's probably support, and he wins. So it's a little unnerving. And then a Galactus versus Galactus battle is Galactus versus Galactus battle. That's going to be the most boring battle ever. Who hits first wins. Yeah.
Well, I think it's more of who hits first wins, or who hits first and then doesn't hit impervious. I think that's where it really comes down to is who makes impervious first.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting here. I'm actually doing the math on it right now. So first Galactus hits, puts you on that click I just mentioned, 12 attack, 18 for 5. So that Galactus retaliates. And now both Galactuses on the exact same click. 10 phasing, 11 psychic blast, 18 toughness, 4 damage. So maybe it's not who hits first, it's who hits last.
Yeah, that could be an issue too, because that getting on that side blast could be a lot more beneficial than having that energy explosion. And I know the triple target energy explosion is nice, but the big thing when I look at Galactus at that 300 points, I say to myself is, what is my advantage? My one advantage, my big advantage is I have huge numbers. That's once I lose my huge numbers, I'm in trouble. And so when I look at where most of the people are talking about the meta, I say Galactus can do some things. Should you be afraid of Galactus? No. At the same time, you shouldn't be like, oh, Galactus is a pushover, because I think he's comparable.
I think we might see. Let's see. I don't think there's any really good. Let me see here. Let's see. A really good strategy against Galactus is just pulse wave. It's probably the easiest way to beat him, and it avoids the mystics. But there's really no good pulse wave capable pieces in this set. I mean, who's to say what's not going to come out in Chaos War? Since I guess that may affect Gen Con more than anything. But looking through. Well, that, and I suppose if they play to do Adam Warlock and they play it right and the Galactus person is a little silly, yeah, that might work, but I don't think you can pull that off in a 300-point game, because I think that Adam Warlock, I don't know, you could. Adam Warlock at 149, Superman at 150.
Okay.
Still wouldn't work, though. I don't think that would kill Galactus, though. I mean, you could still, let's see, you would hit Galactus for 6 right off the bat, so let's see where that puts him. I'm assuming that
you're still looking at Psycho Blast.
Superman hits with a heavy, and what's his name? Adam Warlock out with the Power Cosmic, and then the Impervious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, Galactus ends up on a clip where he can't one-shot you, so there's that at least.
Yeah.
I think he put Superman on a pretty terrible click, because he's on 11 attack, 4 damage with the flex click.
Yeah, and the other thing is people, and we're going to get to Adam Warlock, because people might say no, Adam Warlock doesn't have that ability, sir. You're incorrect. No, there's 2 Adam Warlocks in this set. So
yes, let me just read this to everyone, then, so I don't get yelled at. There's 2 Adam Warlocks. There's one that has Power Cosmic and the Infinity Watch keyword, and there's the other one that turns into Magus when he gets hurt. So the one that has Power Cosmic and the Infinity Watch keyword has a power called Cosmically Unknowable. Adam Warlock can use Outwit, and he may use it to counter team abilities. If he uses it to counter the Power Cosmic team ability, he can use Outwit again after actions resolve to counter a power on the same character. So he also has a trait called Soul Gem. When he KOs an opposing character, heal him with 1 damage. If it was 100 or more, heal him with 2 damage instead. So Adam Warlock with the Gauntlet, with the Soul Gem, will be crazy hard to KO. But his numbers are overall average beyond that really cool power.
Yeah, and so it's for me, he's not 300-point meta yet material. And unfortunately, he's in that I have to be either a temp pole or part of a very strong duo team idea. So I sort of.
He's more, if you're playing an 1,800-point game and someone's bringing Galactus, you can Adam Warlock out so you can get that Alpha Strike.
Yeah, that's no doubt. I will say this when we're finishing up talking about Galactus. The Herald.
We can't finish up talking. You can't just talk about him at 300. My God, he does so much.
I know. It's just the higher points. The higher points I can be on Nerd Zone for hours, and I have to limit myself, or we'll be here all day. But the higher point.
You got to at least talk about the 600 one.
Okay, all right. The 600-point Galactus. I look at that and I say, man, you beat every other 600-point Colossal that we've had.
He's really not a 600-point Galactus. He's really a 750-point Galactus. If you think about it, you get the free Herald. Yeah,
and the revenge silliness that comes back with the Herald. But whatever people say, I'm like Novar, and everyone's like, oh, Superman is my Herald. No, that dial is too shallow. Forget Superman. I'm going for Novar. I'm going for.
And the problem is with the 600-point Galactus, people one-shot Novar pretty easily, even if you get a pulse wave off.
Yeah.
Or Cyblade.
I don't know. I think like it's Novar and Namor have been the top two contenders that have come up, and my issue with Namor.
Oh, for heraldness, right?
For heraldness, yeah. My only issue with Namor is no range. If he had range, he wouldn't be Namor. But other than that, I think those are the two best heralds. And then someone said White Lantern Flash, and I'm like, he doesn't do enough damage. He doesn't do enough damage, in my opinion, and he doesn't have anything to make the damage stick or make the damage go through damage reducers. He doesn't have Side Blast, Running Shot.
Well, my personal choice would probably be Namor, just because you spin this the Herald dials for Plex, and now you've got a Namor who's sitting on a 20 defense every turn and has the power Cosmic, and flies not because of his power anymore, but legitimately flies.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, well, also, too, if you do it right, you can always go to the enhancement click, which is, I like enhancement, but that's just me. But I think overall the Devourer dial, it puts you in it doesn't put you in the driver's seat. It puts you in the hyper lane seat in which you can pilot planets, so to speak. It's just that good. You know, yes, you're not starting off with a crazy 13 attack, but overall for what you get, for 300 more points, it's worth it. You know, you're getting 6 more clicks, also a Herald, so that's 6 to 7. Well, actually, 6 to 8 more clicks on top of that. You know, if you play it right,
you get a lot. Drop under an 18, attack that doesn't drop under a 10. And if you count perplex, a damage that doesn't drop under a 5.
Yeah. Yeah, the only problem I see is that you suffer, you don't have any way to do penetrating damage in mid-dial. But other than that, I mean, he can get away, and he can get away anywhere he wants to. And if you're on a...
He may not be able to do the... Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, sorry.
He may not be able to not do penetrating damage, but the way they change multi-attack, he gets upward, and he's got basically a move and attack. So, let's say he's got a 12 speed and higher damn dial. So, I mean, you just say multi-attack, move 12 squares, next turn, pulse wave, or just punch somebody, or shoot somebody, or do whatever you're going to do. He can really, really wreck some teams. He's going to probably be the dominant force in whatever Infinity Gauntlet is 700 points, where half has to come from Galactic Guardians.
Yeah.
You'll probably see a lot of him unless your venue bans Colossals or does Sealed. I think there's one local venue that's doing nothing but Sealed every single event.
Yeah, and see, in my opinion, when I look at that future format, and again, I tell people, it's we haven't seen the map, and again, this is more spoilers, and if you don't care about that, but we haven't seen the map for month 5, and because we haven't seen the map, I can't say oh, there we go, that's the super special tactics right there that we're going to use. It's just like with month 2 on the Nexus map. The whole game design of teams changed for that map. So anyway,
I played the first time I played on that map was Hulk Field, and I tell you, there's no worse set to play on that map than Hulk.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Okay. Now next to our next sort of baby of discussion, Master Mode.
I love Master Mode.
I have to say, in all honesty, my love of Master Mode is the extremes. It's the 200-point Master Mode and the 1,500-point Master Mode. I don't really have the middle ground. If you look at the 200-point Master Mode, being able to do multi-attack and being able to have Retribution Virus, which is like Mystics on steroids with a little bit of Bane Venom, it's silly good for what you get for 200 points. If he has one of the largest swings in the game, and he just phases in, take a shot, and there's no way for you to stop him. The turtle and turn tactic won't work against Master Mold. Just pure and simple, you won't be able to generate enough barrier tokens to protect all your barrier pieces plus your figure with the gauntlet. So, I mean, that's my love for him.
You might, especially against the 200-point one, because the problem with multi-attack, I don't know. See, I don't know if they. I know there was at one point where they said range combat expert could only be used against characters. I don't know if they changed that back. You can use it against whatever. So if you can't range combat expert walls, the Master Mold will actually not be able to break through walls with multi-attack.
He has a 3 base damage.
Yeah, but multi-attack makes your damage go down by 1. For
the second one, yeah. I'm more looking at the fact that most of the teams in 300 points are going to have 2 beekeepers, or that's what we call them around here, the AIM renegades, are going to have 2 AIM renegades, your gauntlet, and whoever is holding the gauntlet. That's how we've sort of surmised how it's going to go. If you're able to fit 3, then you're getting sort of a weaker gauntlet holder for the payoff of getting to that +1 or +2 stats, and you have to get there because you're picking a cheaper figure. The big thing I looked at was if he phases through and angles himself, he can make a good angle to get around most barrier placement. And even if he can't, he just like says, all right, boom, I'm going to go here, just be fine. Then I'm going to take a shot here, and then I'm going to phase in and then make a ranged combat expert. I think what will end up happening is at any point of your formation, you look at and say, dang it, I need a wall. That's when Master Mold has you. So that's how I look at 200-point Master Mold.
I'm looking at him at 1,500, at 600 and above, because the only time I'm playing this Master Mold is when I'm crapping out Sentinels.
Okay.
That's all I want to do. I want to clap out Sentinels. Lots of Sentinels.
Okay, so all right, so explain to everybody why you think that 600 point and above is pretty much everything.
For me, because I don't care if it's competitive. I don't care if it's not. I just want to flood the thing in ever-ending Sentinels. Especially now that we got good Sentinels. But since there may be someone who hasn't seen this, even though it actually was semi-legitimately released a while ago. Sentinel Manufacturer. Give Master Mold a power action. If your fourth on the map, except for Master Mold, is less than 300 points, you may place a character on the map adjacent to Master Mold. The placed character's name must include Sentinel. It must possess the robot keyword, and the placed character's point value must be less than or equal to the current number on the factory dial. And we also have Sentinel Factory. Give Master Mold a power action. Turn the factory dial 1 click and use the Sentinel Manufacturer ability as a free action. Or Sentinel Assembly Line. With Master Mold a double power action. Turn the factory 2 clicks and use the Sentinel Manufacturer ability as a free action.
Yeah.
Now the best part about that is you can say multi-attack, double power action, and you can be crapping out 100-point Sentinels on like turn 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing, like we have a couple of players around here that play Sentinels, and I know that's sort of the big thing. And then with the Toys R Us exclusive Sentinels, those things are boss. If you play them right, you can't lose. Well, let me rephrase that. You can lose, but you will have a good fight on your hands if you play them right. So, I mean, that's the thing I look at is with the Sentinels, with Master Mold. Oh gosh, it's like one of those old classic X-Men shows on TV. Like when they're going to go fight Master Mold, and he just keeps cranking out more and more Sentinels. Yeah, that's what I.
Oh, I'm going to. You can really. You're allowed to use it as long as there's less than 300 points on the board. So if you timed it right, you could put out a 100-point Sentinel, then toss out a 150-point Sentinel, then toss out a 300-point Sentinel. Then you're not going to crap out any more Sentinels for a while, but you still got a force on the board.
Yeah, and I think it's unfortunately like a Golden Age game would make him awesome, because then you can get like the real old, like the first Sentinel, and get that, and then get what else? Like those old like I forgot. I don't think they're universe. Huh?
Sentinel Troopers.
Yes, those Sentinel Troopers. Oh gosh, I would love some Sentinel Troopers.
Well, one click and he's popping out Omega Prime Sentinels. They're not too bad.
I think Omega Prime Sentinels are underestimated. They are quite excellent. You know, they have ghetto imperv.
I played a game a little while ago where a guy put the gauntlet on Karina, the Ellie of her. I think it's Karina something.
Yeah.
And she was actually surprisingly effective with the damn thing. It didn't help that I couldn't roll, but she damn near KO'd Imperiex all by herself.
Wow. Okay. That's sort of impressive. I haven't been that bold with it. With my gauntlet placement to play her with it. But
I think a lot of people are still rolling out the gauntlet at my local places.
Okay, all right. So the next one we're going to look at is Giganto, the mole monster, and I don't know if we're going to fully agree on this. I feel that he's only playable at 100 points. I think when you go above that, you're wasting your points for what you're getting, because you're technically getting like you're getting 3 clicks for every more 100 points that you add on to him, and I don't think you gain effectiveness, so to speak, in doing so. So
I think the only point value that doesn't make sense is the 300 point value, where he starts with blades and a 4 damage. I think it's a 300 point. Yeah, 300 point value. We start with blades and a 4 damage. Other than that, I think he's fine at 200 and fine at full power, as long as you're playing with a mole man, but he's really using his actions.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying on that. I more so look at the fact is okay. Let's look at that 200 point. He gets that 1 click of impervious. When we look at that 300 point, there's no way that you're going to ever land on that 2nd click of impervious. Like, someone's going to knock you past that click. You're never going to get it. You might as well, not pay for it. And I don't know. I've never been a fan of paying 100 points for 3 clicks. So I mean,
300 I don't like it. I say 300 I don't like him.
Yeah, I know.
I like him. 400 I like him, but not 300.
I sort of say with 400, this is like going for the gold. If you're playing them at 400, you're going to. I would play like 3 not master modes. You can see where mole mans, if I could, just shove as many mole mans on your team and just watch them crank him to do action after action after action. Then I can see him being valuable. But I don't see it. But I won't say. Let me rephrase this as well. It doesn't mean it's not fun. Does not mean it's not fun. I just don't see it. I cannot wait to
play him and Mole Man and some Mole versus the Fantastic Four.
Ooh, now that ought to be interesting. That actually might. That sounds fun. I think people might actually see that happen. Okay.
I'm going to challenge a friend of mine, make him do it.
Oh, okay. That's fun. The other thing that's someone told me this, and I was surprised that Uatu and Dormammu were in the same pack. So
yes, I heard about that as well.
So you get a 2-for-1er, which is sort of nice. But Uatu, I think for me, it's if you are sort of down in the dumps and you really need certain types of support, and you want someone that can just tie up pieces and be annoying, 50-point Uatu, hands down. You have all your support powers in the game. Yes, once he uses it, he can take damage, but I think it's okay. The higher point Uatus, the 200. Oh gosh, no. Oh, I can't.
No, the 200. It's nice, but no, he's too susceptible to taking like a 1-shot and being done.
Yeah, and even if you do get to, you have involved me in your peril, you have to do the classic voice with that. Opposing characters within 6 squares of Uatu, the Watcher, modify their defense values by -2. Even with that, and considering he has like a 14 phasing, you're never going to live there. With the meta that we have now, 12, 13 attack is easy to get. And they're just going to be like Psychic Blast, Exploit Weakness, some other weird power that lets me do something I shouldn't do according to the rules. and it's over. He's dead. he doesn't keep himself alive well. But at that 400 points, what do you think about that 400 point of Watu?
I think he's hilarious because of the trait he gets, a conflict worth watching. Basically, anytime anytime your big hitter hits one of your guys for 3 damage, he gets in cap. And Owatu's next to him, just saying hi.
That is sort of funny because you get, someone to base. I look at, what is it? Power negating force field. Owatu, the Watcher, can use energy shield deflection in toughness. Woohoo! Yay! I have a 19 defense from range. When opposing characters misses Owatu, the Watcher with an attack, counter all powers with that character possesses until the character's next turn. That sort of is funny, but I don't think people are going to miss him too much.
Well, the issue will be, and I'm sure this will happen, if someone's going to set up a perfect alpha strike on Watu. Superman's going to have the heavy object. He's going to come out, he's going to swing, and he's going to crit miss. And that's going to be the game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, and it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah. Now, the only thing is, I wonder if it works against Power Cosmic figures.
Now, it says straight up countered, and Power Cosmic says no countering, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah. I was sort of figuring that, but you can dream for a brief moment of delusion. All right. Next up is Dormammu. I hate to say I don't see Dormammu as meta viable. I see him as fun. Something to pop out.
I like fun.
Yeah, something to pop out just to mess with people. 250 points, Mystic's team ability, Indomitable. He has Permaprob. And he gives and I will say this is a nice thing, is they made it so he can ignore Mystics, so you don't have to worry about Cypher.
Yeah, that's got to be errated, apparently, because the wording it has, it doesn't work. Ignore damage dealt by the Mystic's team ability. So for some reason it doesn't work. I forget why, but the rules definitely said it was going to need an errata.
Okay. So, it'll be changed, but we get the general idea is that you're not going to take Mystic feedback if he's on your team. So I think what'll end up happening is when you're playing those 1,000-point games or 2,000-point games, I think he's a viable addition, and I think that he will allow you to play, some of those figures that you want to play that do have the Mystic team ability, and you don't have to fear Cypher Retribution. And then also just adding a problem.
Let's play him with a bunch of mindless ones. That's what I'll do.
Oh, that's a good one. Welcome to my
Thematic, fun, awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to team up with Doctor Strange. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have Doctor Strange sitting behind him. No, I'm going to have both the Gravity Feed Doctor Strange and the Secret Invasion Doctor Strange. So he'll have Energy Shield Deflection and the 18 Defend the entire time.
And if you should end on one of those power minion clicks, you can give him a +1 to all his combat value.
There you go. But yeah, he has, what is it? Welcome to my realm. When an opposing character within range is given a power action after action resolves, you may roll a d6 on a result of 5 or 6. Deal them 1 unavoidable damage. Dormammu's other powers can't be countered. So
I like Dormammu, but I think a couple things wrong with him. That Empower minion power, which is only like 6 clicks of 18, that should have been a trait, I think, because for it to get the maximum benefit, you could end up on that click Empower minion. Next turn you're knocked off, it's minion no longer empowered, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he's just so susceptible to outwit. I mean, the Mystic's feedback is nice, but then, the outwit, and he's just there.
Yeah, I agree. And he's only really I hate to say it like this, he's only really a big offensive monster in the beginning of his dial. He is top-heavy. He is very top-heavy. And he doesn't have multi-attack like some of the other Colossals, so that gives him a different disadvantage.
Never gets it.
Yeah. So And then when we look, and that's 250, and then we're looking at the higher points. You know, I don't know what their concern was with giving him maybe a couple more clicks of running shot, but I think they were sort of afraid. That's the only thing that makes me think about why his dial was the way it is.
I don't know. If you look at the first half of his dial, it's kind of hilarious because I'm just staring at it. It's pretty much identical to his second half, with the exception of just about everything that's a 3 is a 4. Everything that's a 5, just add 1 to everything. It's about the same dial.
Yeah, and he's more than double the points, which is sort of confusing. So, I don't know what's up with that. So, all right, that ends the colossal section of the talk on GSX, and so now we're going to go back into the main set and look at some picks that we had. I've learned, buy what you're going to play. Support your local venues, but just buy what you're going to play. If you're a singles person, just go ahead and buy singles. If you're, the brick person or the case person or the 5 case person, do that. But, play with what you pay for. And so for me, low income, don't have a whole lot of money coming in. I just sort of made a list of these are the figures I'm going to play out of this set. So I'm just going to, talk about those because a lot of other figures let me be honest, I'm not going to play. And Dan's going to throw in his 2, 3, and 15 cents in there as well. So starting off, Nova Prime. I think Nova Prime is one of those figures that people are like, okay, he's a decent, 150 character, and they don't really fully look at everything that he's able to do. And I look at Nova Prime, and he's teamed up with Denarian, Nova Corp's Denarian, and I say, hey, look, you pretty much have the equivalent of Edward Nigma all over again. You just give the other guy, the Jason Friendly character, 50 points or more with the Nova Corp's keyword, a power action, and you remove an action token from Nova Prime. That sounds exactly like Edward Nigma. So,
well, you have one problem with that. Edward Nigma could be carried, and the Denarian can't.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot more setup than it might be worth, but I do think for tactical play, if you are playing with a couple of Nova Corp's figures, then you could pull it off, and that's the thing that I think that makes him viable but not overpowered, and I think that it would make him quite interesting. And if it wasn't for the fact that the Nova Corp's helmet was a immobile object and all the rules with the gauntlet, I would actually say that Nova Prime with the someone with the helmet and the gauntlet would have been an excellent idea, but that's not happening. So I do that's why I like Nova Prime, is his trait, and then he has pretty much most of his dial. He can do movement attack, and his damage values are pretty stable, and his attack values are pretty stable.
Yeah, I'm just peeking a bit. I figured if you want to really use his trait and abuse it, you play. So here's the best thing I could think of: you do Nova Prime, and you do a Denarian, and you do a recruit.
Yeah.
So then what you end up with is everybody's got super senses.
Yeah.
Everybody's got defend, and everyone can use leadership. So you can set up a little bit of a leadership chain. So Nova Prime could, he's got 2 guys to take tokens off him, and then Nova Prime can leadership a token off the Denarian. He can leadership a token off the recruit. The recruit gives everyone defend, so everybody's got a minimum of 17. I don't think anybody goes higher than a 17. And they've all got super senses to boot. And the recruit gets knocked on the perplex at the end, so it's not a bad little team.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's viable. Is it, the top tier? No. But I do think it's viable.
Fun.
Yeah, and it will be an interesting game to play in your local GameStop. That's a GameStop.
It's only 280, so if you really wanted to, you could toss on the Cosmic Cube. which is, wow, that's a 4, 5, or 6 to pick up. I did not know that.
I am not a fan of the Cosmic Cube, and we'll get to that later. And the same with the helmet, and I feel that WizKids dropped the ball on that, but we'll get to that a little bit later. The next figure that I think is worth talking about is Skrull Rebel. And the main reason I'm looking at Skrull Rebel is because Skrull Rebel is cheap. And in an age of more and more wild cards, you have a cheap wild card Skrull option that isn't bad. Then I think also she has her having all that stealth on her
If she ever loads for me, I will comment. If she ever loads on my computer, I swear I'll comment.
Yeah, I've had the same problem. I thought I had everything good with having it preloaded, but unfortunately the preloading didn't turn out as well as I thought. Skrull Rebel is really good because of also her defense power, which pretty much if she succeeds on her Skrull team ability, I think if on more than one time. Well, no, Skrull succeed on one or more rolls. Yeah, Skrull Rebel can make one close combat or ranged combat attack as a free action this turn. So you can get 2 shots off in a turn with her, for 30 points. So I think, it's worth investing and getting, maybe having 2 at least of her in your set. I think it's a she. I forgot which is the female sculpt and which is the male.
They probably just reused Laser Fist sculpt again because every Skrull in the set pretty much is Laser Fist.
Okay. I thought they had something
I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing.
I thought if there was some like Zavin. I know Zavin for the Runaways comic is a he, she, it in between multi-gendered sort of quagmire. But I thought Zavin looked like a male. But I don't know. Anyway, I think that Skrull figure would actually be pretty good figure to actually use just for a general purpose. And then also teaming up with Beta Ray Bill from the Fast Forces. So
the ability to regenerate to its top quick too. It's not bad.
Yeah. So I mean, you have some stability there. So what do you think so far?
I think you could do much worse for 30 points. I used to play those. Let me see. I got to look them up. But I used to play all the time the old. I think they were called the Skrull Infiltrators.
Oh, those
from
awesome.
Supernova.
Yeah.
I played those not just in general because they were good. For Skrull teams, they were fantastic. They did a great little thing. These guys, I'd love them if they had one single click of shape change, but I don't think they'd beat 30 points. But no, they're not too bad for 30 points. I think you could do worse for a little tie up. I mean, if you get one shot and 30 points down the drain, you could do much worse.
Yeah. The next figure I'm looking at is Doombot, and Doombot's on my list. And Doombot originally wasn't on my list, and yes, it's a figure that's been previewed before. But the big thing with Doombot is just knowing like you have the flexibility of building your team how you want to with Doombot, because you can say like, okay, he's Dr. Doom, quote unquote, and he can he has this this ability to say like, okay, I have leadership or shape change, I'm Dr. Doom, and if not, he has perplex, you're establishing, okay, this is a Doombot, he can perplex and he can perplex himself. So I like how it works because you can power up whatever you need to power up with him, and he can, be fodder for Dr. Doom, and he's okay for 55 points. I'm not asking for miracles.
Old school Doom's been on the new one, sadly. Old school Dooms, maybe he can be fodder, but the new Doom, the one they released in the set, no Mastermind.
Yeah, I know. But I more look at these Doombots as being tie-up pieces or robotic walls, so to speak, more so than actual Mastermind fodder. That's how I just sort of see them being used. But I do like the Doombots acting as Doctor Doom, so that they have leadership and shape change. And then if your venue ever plays 200-point games, oh gosh, this guy is going to be awesome. He's going to be so much fun to play. So that's how I feel on Doombot. And so anyway, the next figure that I want to sort of bring up is the Adam Warlock that we saw previewed. I just think his flexibility of starting off with Perplex, also having, Guardians of the Galaxy team ability is pretty cool. Then also being able to have Perplex and Psychic Blast in good values. So you can either choose, increase his damage or increase his range or increase his attack, or you can help your other Guardians of the Galaxy team members. I think he contributes a lot. Also, if you know the Magus dial, and you know when to flip between the two on what number you're on, I think if you become a master of that, then you can maximize your playing to another level. And so that's
I think click 5 and or 6 would be good times to switch, because let's put it this for, let's see, on Adam Warlock on clicks 5 and 6, you have a 12 phasing, 10 pulse waves, 16 toughness, 3 prob, where on Magus you have 10 with charge, 10 with steel energy, 16 mastermind, 4 without wit. So
and
you could, you could do some. That's a good click to switch on.
Yeah. So I really, you have to ask yourself, do you need a support figure or do you need, muscle? And if you're playing Guardians of the Galaxy, you don't need an extra prob outside of Rocket Raccoon. So, I mean, once he gets to that part of his dial, he's just like Magus, that's what's up. That's how I see it.
It's a tough choice too, because Adam Warlock gets to generate, and so does Magus. But Adam Warlock gets to generate with prob, whereas Magus just gets higher defensive numbers.
Yeah, and then that's your question of when you're playing, when you switch to that Magus click, you have to have somebody come up behind Magus just to make sure that he stays alive, so he can at least do something another turn. I think that's the risk when you play him though. But that's why I think that if you really look at Magus, his biggest advantage is, and I know we're sort of jumping ahead, but when you look at Magus, your biggest advantage is really the clicks that you pointed out with the charge clicks, or if you're in this range battle, let Adam Warlock get hit and then have him trans over to stealth and psychic blast, and just have him stand on an object or hindering terrain somewhere. And let them fight it out.
3 is a good click for the 2 of them.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's, if someone was able to say, like, go back and make changes, I would say that I would put, like, the second click of TK, I would put that somewhere near the middle of this dial, somewhere on that near those charge clicks. Just for a pure fact of you're going to need you need the ability to maneuver something else towards you. Anyway, that's just how I feel. So anyway, the next figure that I thought was noteworthy was Hollywood, and I think Hollywood is actually could be a pretty good meta piece. Consistent 10 attack. You never have to worry about your attack going down. It is a 10 attack, though, but you never have to worry about your attack going down. He does have that special power that allows him to pretty much just reduce all damage down to 1. Ignore all but 1 damage. So it's not even reduced, so he ignores Psychic Blast, too. And you put Guardians of the Galaxy team ability on him, and bam, he's pretty much power cosmic.
One problem with him, though, they missed one line of text that would have made him very, very good, because I'm reading it. It's basically almost immortal. He ignores all but 1 damage dealt to him, This power can't be countered. That's great, but they forgot two lines of text, which is or ignored. So you can spy blast him, he's taking one. You can exploit him, he's taking one. You pulse wave him, he's taking everything.
But I don't know if they want him to ignore that though.
I think Blob says or ignored, and I think also Ulick, so they definitely changed it just for him.
Okay, I didn't. I wasn't aware of that one.
Blob just says ignores all but one damage stuff, so Blob could be outwit or pulse waved. But Ulick definitely says this power cannot be countered or ignored. So you could single target pulse wave Ulick, and he's just taking one.
Well, I mean,
but yeah, he's still. I'm gonna say Hollywood's still good. He's still very, very consistent. My guy, he's got a 10 attack forever.
And that's the funny thing is that technically he's the best Wonder Man ever made. But I mean, if we look at the dial, I mean, he always is able to do penetrating damage to somebody in melee. He's always, the ability, or not penetrating, let me rephrase that. He's always able to get past invulnerability or impervious. And that's the part to me that makes him sort of a keeper. Yes, he has a flurry at the end, but if he's not in melee at that point in time, something went wrong. I think he's good on a 300-point Guardians of the Galaxy team. I think he's great on a non-Guardians of the Galaxy team. I think he's great, with the Gauntlet. You don't have to pay for a full Gauntlet with him. You just pay for that Guardian of the Galaxy ATA and you pick up what you need off of the Gauntlet and then go from there. I mean, he's
really a soul gem for the healing.
Oh yeah, I mean that's.
He really only needs a soul gem for the healing. I think maybe also I think was it reality that gives you super senses? That one.
I think that's the time gem.
I just need 2 gems for whatever reality and soul. Super senses and steel energy for all.
Yeah, I would say if I was able to pick soul gem. I think the reality gem with the probability control for yourself, and the super senses and end cap. I think you could cap out yourself at those 3 and be fine. If you really want to add a power gem, you can. You're already going to be in melee, and just adding in some close combat expert would be nice, just to get your damage numbers up a little bit more, but. Overall, I think Hollywood is probably going to be one of the best comics you can get in the game. Okay, so the next figure you want to look at is Astral Doctor Strange. And really, you sort of have to pair it when you look at Doctor Strange. The Astral Doctor Stranges are really just WizKid's second attempt of doing Professor X. Pretty much that's it. And limiting that ability to shoot through other figures to a very fragile piece. I mean, that's how I see it, is them trying to rebalance the Professor X concept. I mean, other than that, the end cap one might be nice, or if you really want to, put some pressure on, the one with smoke cloud and 1 damage might actually be interesting. But other than that, I just see them as, the ability to allow Doctor Strange to have a longer reach than what he actually does.
Yeah, they really made it so. One thing I like they did, that these 13-point Doctor Stranges could be like the most incredible, cheapest tie-up pieces. You could drown your opponent in them. You could have 10 of them for 130 points. You wouldn't really, because my God, one black bolt, they're all dead. But just for you could drown your team in them. But the trait they have, they don't require opponents to break away. They don't block line of fire. They can't be masterminded too. They can't be perplexed, but they can move as a free action. They don't affect anyone in any way except letting Doctor Strange grow. That I like.
Yeah, and see, the thing I also sort of look at is this. How do you use them as control? And they're great control because if you put them next to a piece that is a ranged piece, that ranged piece has to move away to make a ranged attack. If you make a barrier of them, between you and your opponent, your opponent still has to shoot them to get to you, to your main piece. I think that they are.
The issue though is if your guys are has running shot, and most of them do, or they might, or if they don't, they have to go and like give it to them. They're gonna have to roll a break away from these things. So they're more of an annoyance than anything else, which is good. That's how they should be. They shouldn't be, a 13-point piece should not be the piece that everyone's playing from a set.
But even still, they're pretty good. And then also, I look at it like this: if you need a figure, if you have, both of them have served two different purposes. If you need a figure that needs to generate that needs a lot of hindering terrain, and like with your team composition that you don't have map control, you don't have a theme team, so map control isn't in your favor. 13-point Doctor Strange smoke cloud. Puts the smoke cloud around, do what you do. Or if you have a special power that says, my opponent takes damage according to how many tokens they have. Hey, guess what? Astral Projection, Doctor Strange, end cap is right there for you. So I think they're viable options for you to use both of them with. But
I do like them. They will play very well with Doctor Strange. But what I like is that they are most useful and played with Doctor Strange, and they have one or two benefits, but they're not going to ultimately affect anything. They might inconvenience you a little bit, but I don't think they'll ultimately provide games. If they could be mastermind fodder, oh god, they really would. But thank God they can't.
Oh gosh, yeah. You would not. I mean, I would tell you what the world championship team would be. It would be Darkseid and Doctor Strange Souls. That's pretty much that's pretty much going to be the world championship team right there.
Yeah, if it was legal. Thank God it's not.
Yeah, if that was the case, yeah. So, at least.
Actually, no. I think no, because nurses will be retired, so it would have to be them. Huh.
Yeah. So you gotta love them. At least WizKids did look out for us this time around, and said, we're not going to make something that abusable. The next figure is Elijah the Laser Fist, and she is pretty good for what you get for 80 points. Not having 3 damage is sort of suck starting off. But as she goes on, she gets range combat expert at the end, so that's sort of nice. Also, with
8 attack though, that's more of a desperate last shot than something you should totally be relying on.
Yeah, you're not. I'm not going to say you are. The other thing that I look at her is the seductive infiltrator. Is pretty much she can use shape change, and when Elijah the Laser Fist succeeds on a scroll team ability roll, she can't be targeted with an attack for the rest of the turn. So it allows her to survive.
By any character.
Yeah, by any character.
So you forgot the most important part.
Yeah, by any character. And here's why it becomes interesting. This also means that if you have some ability to mind control friendly characters, you can't target her. And she also can't be targeted by your own Perplex, your own Prob.
Nope.
Yeah.
She can, because that's not an attack.
Oh, it's a not attack. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but definitely not your mind control. But that element allows her to stay alive a lot longer. And then also you're thinking for 80 points, you're getting both Fantastic Four and Skrulls team ability at the same time. The energy explosion is sort of okay. I sort of wish the Psychic Blast was front-loaded, but I guess that would cost more. And the toughness is pretty good.
Yeah, I think for 80 points, she really could use some more offense. It'll be a neat little piece to play with Johnny Storm to get the boost for the wedded duo trait, but
yeah.
Ultimately she's a little too much for what she does, I think.
Yeah. I think she comes into her own on a Skrull team, and either a Golden Age Skrull team, or if you really want to hurry up and rush it for a modern age Skrull team, so that you can get your Super Skrull Avengers, your Super Skrull Elektra, and all those other Super Skrulls on a nice sized team of 500 or 600 points. I think that she would help out okay, but I don't think that she's going to be broke good. I think she's balanced, but I don't think she's going to be super hyper meta. But I play a lot of scrolls, so I'm definitely going to be playing her at some point in time. Moving on, we're going to look at one of the I feel is one of the most powerful figures in the set, Doctor Doom. And then we're not talking about, gravity feed Doctor Doom. We're talking about the set Doctor Doom. And this time I'll let you start the commentary. What do you think about Doctor Doom?
I think he's fun. He's definitely not what I expected to get in a Doctor Doom. He's a much different Doctor Doom. I mean, the first time I saw his dial, we couldn't really see his dial, but the first time we really kind of saw him was at Quixoton, and that's when I saw he's 169 points and he's indomitable. The first thing I thought was, man, that's low for Doom. It really is. I mean, it's a very good Doom. I won't lie there. Especially with that first trait, see, I am still your superior. So basically, if he's fighting the Fantastic Four anytime he KOs them, he heals a clit. And if he's on a Fantastic Four team, well, hey, he's got the keyword, because this is Future Foundation Doom, and he heals 2 anytime someone kills a Fantastic Four group. I'm sure he's copying the team ability, so there's 1 healing, and then he gets all superior, and he gets mystical because he's Doom, and heals 1 more.
Yeah.
The thing that everyone's already started talking about, though, is abusing his power. Doom will solve your problems, feeble ones, which is hilarious name for a power. Is playing Doom in the Power Pack.
Yes, I've heard commentary on that.
Doom in the Power Pack.
Yeah, because then you just have them run around and fail to attack, and then Doom just waylays on them. I look at Doom and with his ability to get the +1 attack, and I say in all my Golden Age games, I now have a reason for Destiny to go out and try to hit people. I think
damage too. I think he said just attack. He gets a double bonus.
Hold on, let me see. Yeah, it is attacking and damage value. So yeah, I think also when we're looking at Doom, I will say I have thought about playing him with the Gauntlet. I'm still pretty serious with that. But I look at all his keywords. Fantastic Four is coming back. That new 70-point Wolverine is awesome. Mystical is good. Ruler is good. Scientist is good. You're not hurting for good keywords with him. And you still have, Minions of Doom team ability. So, I think he has the ability in a normal meta to show up, and I also think he has the ability to actually, make some game change moments.
I think Doom in the past has always been a game changer because this Doom suffers kind of what some other Dooms have, where he really. He's a little different. He can't really take a hit. I mean, he's still pretty viable after he takes a hit, but he gets low enough to where you can really start to hurt him. But he's got ways to heal, which a lot of Dooms really didn't have a trait way to heal. This is the first thing to do that. I'd like him a lot more if he just had Mastermind on his front dial, but if you put Mastermind on every single Doom, then really what are you trying there? So I can't fault anything for doing that.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that will really ultimately hurt him is lack of move and attack. Sadly. I mean, Indomitable helps with that because he can just position and then shoot. And I suppose if you put the gauntlet on him and you install it long enough, then he'll get it to him. But, I like the Doom. I was hoping for more when I saw the sculpt because the sculpt was just, oh my god, that was an incredible sculpt. I was hoping for a dial. The dial's good. He'll heal a lot, and he's got a lot of ways to heal. And he's got one of the more fun animals I've seen. Overall, he's okay, but he's not my top piece for the set.
Okay. All right, and because we love you, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this part of the episode right here, and when we return, we will continue our commentary on the Galactic Guardian set. So just go ahead and flip that cassette to side 2, and come right back for the rest of our commentary.